Funeral Director, Chaim Cleavin. Morning, Chaim.
Kia ora, Chaim.
Kia ora. Hey, thanks for chatting to us. Firstly, what a wonderful name, Chaim, spelled Chaim. I was saying to Pete, just when you think you've heard of every name in the world, names always surprise us, and I've never heard of the name Chaim before. Where does that come from?
Yeah, for sure. No sooner you're done negotiating Heston Blumenthal than you're up to Chaim Cleavin.
Yeah, that's right.
Chaim is a very old Jewish name that sort of panics a lot of people. It's sometimes pronounced L'chaim, which is even trickier. It's got an ancient sort of Jewish meaning, which means to life. It's a salutation. It's a cheers. So it's an interesting old name to carry around when you're a funeral director.
Well, but the good thing is when you've got an unusual name, is that there is no confusion. No confusion at all.
Yeah, and I was thinking you go by P and I could go by C if Chaim's just too much to manage.
Oh, I reckon we can manage it. Hey, so you work as a funeral director for Hope and Sons. Obviously, with COVID-19, it has affected all of us. But for you and in your industry, obviously, it has been extra challenging.
Yeah. Look, death or times of death, challenging at the absolute best of times. For those families going through that experience. What we've found, of course, is our sort of usual approach, just calm and compassionate and constant, just how we always approach things, has been the way through. There are some specifics, though. It's pretty obvious to say that there have been under the alert level 4. There's been no possibility of funeral gatherings, which really has put a big dent in that usual instinct to have large gatherings of people, to tell stories and to reminisce and to and just support one another. So that's probably been our foremost challenge.
Is there some relief that under level 3 there can be more close family members allowed in now to funeral ceremonies?
Yeah. There was a wee period there just a wee bit earlier in the lockdown where the guidance from the Ministry of Health and the Prime Minister's office was that there were to be absolutely no proceedings, and that included no family viewings, which, if anything's been highlighted to us over the past couple of weeks is the importance of that experience and that ritual, which is, the opportunity for close family and others in normal times to come close to that person who has died and to, have meaningful time with them. As we move through, and again, we've got an indication that as and if we move to alert level 3, there would be the opportunity to have gatherings of up to 10 people, but with some quite specific measures involved with physical distancing between those people. So it's an evolving sort of situation. But look, one of the key messages out of the time is that it's about creating meaningful experiences, and it's an incredibly challenging and distressing and disorientating time at the best of times. And all we look to do is just create a wee shape and opportunities, and we've actually seen some really special things happening over the past couple of weeks with smaller, much more intimate gatherings, often involving a single bubble around that person who's died.
Will you, or has there been any if you like, postponed proceedings that will take place, like memorial gatherings that you will be prepared to host once we come out of a more severe lockdown?
Yeah. Look, Dunedin people, pragmatic, gracious, New Zealand people in general, and also really adaptable. So where we talk about, the circumstance and the scenarios and what the needs are, I think a lot of people are just sort of, very, they're working around and responding to the situation. They understand it, and with good communication and guidance, I think, in direct answer to your question, I think a lot of people are thinking, oh gosh, this is for another time. But interestingly, I don't think people are bypassing those proceedings. I think they're still really important. It's really valuable to get a big mob of people together, and we are social, which is why this time is so weird, isn't it?
I know. Personally, I'm close to a couple of families that have experienced losses in the last couple of weeks, and it's a terrible time anyway, let alone during a pandemic lockdown. I know that one sort of way that they sent off their loved one was a group of friends got together in a car park. They still turned up in their cars, and they spent 4 or 5 minutes together in a car park, you know, and
I think I might know what you're talking about there. I'm working from my home office today, but I might have had a passing involvement with what you're talking about. Yeah, you know, and that was, you know, it followed the prescribed guidelines, I guess, and had an awful lot of meaning, a lot of potency to that.
Exactly, that's right. Yeah.
So it's being creative, isn't it? And there is no wrong or right way, as we know, when anyone is faced with losing a loved one. So if people can be creative but still follow the guidelines, I mean, I'm sure that you're all for this. The one question I've got, Chaim, is the consultation after someone has lost a loved one. I feel you're obviously, are you doing that through like a Zoom meeting or a Skype call? Because I'd imagine for you and your job, that must be really difficult.
Oh, look, and you know the nuance of communication, you know, and at emotional times,
yes.
You know, face to face has so much value, and you know there's so much to be done there. But look, once again, we're adaptable, and you know, I mean, one should have bought shares in Zoom, shouldn't one? You know, the modes of communication change. People are like that, and we're actually bringing together things like. You know, we're good on telephones, we're good with the old emails, which seem a wee bit archaic these days, don't they? But, you know, we've got people coming together and we're organising crafted video viewings, which might seem like a quite surreal idea. But, you know, we're also organising, you know, Zoom meetings, and people are coming in, you know, around and creating a type of funeral around a person, with perhaps a priest or a celebrant delivering a, you know, tribute or helping with the storytelling. And it's really heartening and incredible. You know, there's still some very special things happening.
Oh, this may be a strange sort of a question, but is a regular coffin burial allowed at the moment?
Yeah. Under the level 4 guidelines, it really was quite prescriptive, though. It was the idea that the funeral director, the person who was caring for the deceased person, could move them to the cemetery, and the sexton or the sexton's representative, the person who is responsible for the cemetery and opening the plot, would meet them with enough hands, if you like, enough staff to organise the casket into the ground, with no proceedings around it. Again, we're working functionally. We're working on a roster where I'm not at work, but available as required. That we've broken off into 4 different sort of cells, if you like, so that we can have sort of safe, you know, workplaces and so on and so forth. I haven't been involved myself, and I don't think we've managed one of those yet, but we do talk across the industry, across New Zealand. The idea of a burial without people attending, you know, again, it's a wee bit unusual because we would often have those people involved. What they're hinting at with the level 3 and the guidance, which is still forming up, nothing formal there yet, but that would suggest that, you know, a gathering of 10 people with appropriate physical distancing, which when you think about a cemetery, could be achievable. You know, perhaps an attendance at a gathering like that, which that'd be a good thing.
Chaim, look, thank you so much for your time this morning. Chaim, the funeral director from Hope and Sons. Look, it's been great chatting with you, and we are going to keep in contact, of course, and keep up the wonderful job that you are doing at what is a really challenging time. And it's a challenging time anyway for people when they lose a loved one, but, you know, under this umbrella, which is, look, we've never been here before. Let's hope we never have to go here again. But thank you for the wonderful job that you're doing.
Oh, thank you so much, and thank you for the opportunity. That's great.
Chaim Cleavin, funeral director for Hope and Sons, this morning on The Hits.